also did melon. Melon was quite fun. And just getting a prediction from them. So we're turning all this, which could be quite painful routine into mini events. This was one group. It was actually melon on that day, but some of them thought it smelled of avocado, some of coconut, some of pineapple, and some of them wanted to change. Aromatherapy, yeah, basically, Rita. Liliana, vanilla one, that would be good. And if they want to change, teacher, can I change? It's like, yes, you can, but you have to say, teacher, I've changed my mind, can I switch? And if they say that, they can say it as much, so they can switch as many times as they want. Somebody's got a gel that smells of vodka. Great. I went a little bit further with this, and I bought some orange flavouring, and I tipped it into the industrial gel we had. And it worked. The only problem is it was a big container, and even though the cleaners have been filling the gel up, it stayed yellow for months. So in the future, yes, what we invent makes them speak and feel engaged, Rita, exactly. In the future, I'm going to use clear flavourings. I found this place online. I haven't ordered anything from it yet, and I know we shouldn't be spending our money on things, but it might be interesting. I'm going to try and get maybe apple, some maybe peppermint, just once in a while. Alexandra says the other day a student said that her gel smelled like the green thing we put in chicken soup. I don't know what the green thing is. Ideas on a postcard. Okay, how old are you? I mean, we've been asking this question for how long, and it's like, how old are you? No, not how old are you. How old am I? That's much more fun. So I challenge you to run around of how old am I with your children if they don't already know how old you are. It's quite entertaining and sometimes a little bit disturbing. Somebody says they're too old for this pandemic. Celia, good one. So again, we're supporting the prediction with a script. I think you are, and this is a class of 7 and 8 year olds. One of them truly did think I was 7, and the others are saying, it's him. How old do you think he is? And he stuck to his 7. He said, no, I think he's 7. I'm not sure what was going on there, though. And we got up to teacher you're older than my mum. Yeah, Denise, that one hurts. Yeah, that one does hurt sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah, we got to 79 there. I actually got called Mama recently as well. Mama. I was like, it must be the hair. So 79, look at that. Anyway, we're practicing many more numbers than just how old are you? 7, I'm 7, I'm 7, I'm 8, I'm 7, I'm 7, etc. So something for you to have fun with if you dare on Monday. Another thing I've been working on recently is to code my hand gestures. And I'll show you what I mean. So when I do this, it's what's next. And I prompt them, I go, teacher, and they go, what's next? I do make it a little bit flamboyant. but and then when I go teacher and I do it with the other hand, they have to say what's number and whatever number we're on. So teacher, what's number 5? And I do this one, teacher, what's next? They're not routines per se, they're kind of routinized transitions. But they take us, they gather everybody in and take us to the next stage of the lesson. Yeah, so left hand was what's number? At the beginning of the lesson or a lesson phase, I'm teacher, both hands, that's which book? And then I say teacher, and they say what page? And then I tell them the page. So we have this lovely little exchange there. Chanted transitions, Liliana. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that term. I'll steal that one off you if that's okay. And then this one I'm introducing this one next week. And this will be teacher, what do we do? Which I played about with the idea of having teacher, what are the instructions? Which would sound fantastic. but I thought maybe what do we do would be a little bit more natural. This is a classic, so you will remember this one from before, but I'm still using it, so I put it in. Is you know when they ask you, are we going to do a video? Are we going to watch a video? Are we going to play a game? Are we going to write on the mini boards? Are we going to wait and see? Wait and see. And I've been doing that since the beginning of term, and a few weeks ago I got my first, reciprocation. I went and said, wait and see, wait and see. So you got it. Okay. Can you remember we had an Happy conference in a school in Lisbon a few years back. And it was great. And I think the students, they made 2015, okay. And the students made pastries and little cakes and things like that. Not surprising, I remember the cakes because of the, the gannet that I am. But in that, Escola Esa de Queiroz. Okay, thank you. That was a great conference as well. So I did a session there and I showed you some little hand captivation techniques. So I want to show you a few more. So I'll start the sequence off. If the students are doing something, I'll go like that and they have to copy. I'm sure you guys have a similar thing. So I'd like you to practice this with me to copy the actions, yeah? And the actions are I'm going to do them in 1 second increments so you can copy. So I'm going to trust you that you're doing this along with me, but you'll get a lot more out of it if you actually do it. And on the recording afterwards, you'll be able to go back if you like them and then copy them and use them. So everybody ready? If you're ready, type a Y into the chat box. Ah, brilliant, thanks. Right. Let's see, what's the first one I'm going to do? Oh, yeah, okay. I'm tired. And then we go into whatever activity we were planning. So these are captivation techniques where we get everybody's attention, but then there's a little story going on there. Okay, next one. Ding. Yes. Can I come in? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Next one. The next one's really simple. I've been inventing loads of these just because the kids have been static to try and draw them in. But remember, you have to do. Thank you. The voices. If you can practice them in front of the mirror, but just tell your family what you're doing. So they have to be in 1 second increments, or the kids can't keep up. I'm pleased that's making you laugh, Linda and Vivian. Please, you like these. Okay, here we go. So. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very, very simple, that one. Gaddy, I'm pleased your kids are loving this. Are they joining in? Okay, here's another one. You ready? Next one. Okay, here's another.
I think lots of fun.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one's called Scratch, inspired by the cats. Okay, Family Guy Herbert. I'm going to have to look that up later. Here we go. This one's called Music. So, ding, ding. I like listening to music. Thank you. That's music now. The last one is a little bit difficult to do. I've still not got it down completely, but it's called loud music. And we have a neighbour appear to ask them to turn the music down. So here we go. I like listening to music. Turn it down. Sorry. So there you go. I mean, you literally can just make them up, but it does add a little something to the, to the transition. So I'll do a couple of those per class, and it just, rather than just stop what you're doing and listen to me, if there's something, then the kids can, they will embrace the transition more than before. Okay, what's next? So thank you, people. That one seems to have gone down well. And it's warming up. So there are, in every unit of our course books, there's the core vocabulary, the sort of the 10 items that normally appear, 8 or 10 items that normally appear on the first or second page of each unit. So in unit 1, for example, in one book I'm doing, it's animals, and in the next unit, it's places. So what I do, I mean, there are different ways to introduce this core vocabulary, but I don't wait until I've got to the next unit, until I've started it. Instead, I actually play a little game with them. So I think maybe you get something that could be a microphone here. So I'll look ahead, find the items, and then we'll play Vocab Wars. Thank you, the round of applause, Marcia. So here we go. This is Unit 2. These are places in the town. That's what the core vocabulary is. And we say to the kids, ladies and gentlemen, today we are playing Vocabulary War. We have the street versus the supermarket. One of these will go through to round 2. And then we ask them, Alejandro, which one do you prefer? And Alejandro says, teacher, I prefer the supermarket. 1 point for the supermarket. Okay, will the street get another point? Let's see. Then we say, Lydia, which do you prefer? And Lydia says, I prefer the supermarket. I was like, that's 2 for the supermarket, nothing for the street. And then we just go through, and then whichever finally wins goes through. So the supermarket is going through to round 2. Supermarket, we'll see you next lesson. Street, we have to say goodbye to you. And then, the next lesson, we do, 2 more, maybe the bins and the bins and the bus stop, for example. Poor street, yeah, poor street, Sergio. Yeah, but there's, the street could come back in there could be like a losers round as well. Now, what happens is they get halfway through this and then they'll start wanting to copy each other. So again, it's like, teacher, can I change? Well, suddenly their enthusiasm, they want to change. They have the desire to switch. So it's like, yeah, you can, but you have to say, teacher, I've changed my mind. Can I switch? Do I do this with all of them? Yes, I do, Susie, but you have to remember I'm working in smaller classrooms than you guys are. But yeah, and I do it quite quickly. And do I do it with all the pictures, you mean? I do, yeah. I don't need my mic anymore, do I? You can tell that I've been doing hybrid classes talking to a mic. And I do it with all the items, but not all in the same lesson because they get bored. So it's, sorry. It's, so what I do is I just do one, and then the next lesson, we do the next one. And then we'll do like the second round and then the finals. So if they want to change their mind, teacher, I've changed my mind. Can I switch? Yes, you can, as many times as you want, because we're still negotiating. We can get them to say stuff like this. And occasionally they go, I don't know. Now, when they don't know, I think the secret is to make the sentence they have to give you more difficult and longer than if they just voted for one of them. Because if they just say, I don't know, that's a lot less effort than going, teacher, I prefer the supermarket. So they go, I don't know. And then that could catch on occasionally. So we say, teacher, I'm not sure which one of them I prefer. Now, if they have to say that, then they're probably going to vote. And if they don't, if they still want to say that, well, brilliant. I mean, I'm not sure is lovely if we can get our 6, 7, 8-year-olds saying that, which one of them I prefer. So, and I do that again when I'm online and I'm doing this activity and I'm getting them to type these sentences. Again, the sitting on the fence, the no vote script is always longer than the others. And then, we've got, next week, we've got the bins and the bus stop, and so on. Another thing, I mean, in these pictures, these are actually just from my neighborhood. This is one of the local supermarkets that I go to. This is the castle. Just beyond this, we have outside in the Macarena in Seville, we have the old city walls there. A little bit further up, we have the Repsol garage, where occasionally I buy cheese slices for my burgers, and then Red Cross Hospital. This is about 19 minutes up the road. This is the academy, one of the academies where I work this year. But what I'm saying here is, if you've got places in your course books, you can, when you do your slides, instead of using, screenshots from the digibook, if you actually take a photograph of those places in your neighborhood, exactly, Celia, they can relate to the pictures more. I mean, the book that I'm using, the book's good, it's fine. It's I think New Tiger, and it's got bus stop in it. But the bus stop that I took a picture of here looks more like the bus stop that my kids recognize. So, and if these places, so we just replace the pictures in the book on our PowerPoints and that with local pictures, and the kids will, they'll explode and they'll say, oh, my grandmother lives up there. It's like, so we've made a connection. Yeah, sometimes the places are different. I mean, for instance, one for me is here in Seville, the kiosks, that newsagents are normally freestanding kiosks in the middle of the street, and someone goes inside them. Whereas in the UK, as you know, the newsagents are just like a normal shop. So that just makes it a little bit more, providing meaningful exposure. I like it. Okay, next, what do we got? So at the end of your unit, you've often got a text, and it's maybe like a CLIL or a culture page or something like that. And I always find these texts are quite a lot more difficult than the text in the rest of the unit. And suddenly a lot of language is kind of just sprung onto the student. It's like, whoa, And also, they're pretty hard to penetrate sometimes. So what I've been doing is I've been getting the kids to look at the script. I mean, this is not rocket science, but it's been working for me. This is an imaginary one, but I just put on the audio and then I stop it and they have to shout out the next word. And that is the way I've found most effective to keep the kids' eyes glued to the text, So you can hear the audio. Some schools have uniforms and some. And then you just press the audio and it continues again. You've probably done that in the past and forgotten that you've done it. But it focuses them down, and then you can actually pinpoint the words you want them to look at as well. So those horrible texts at the end of the units, we can do something with them then. Right, next strategy. Another one. So you see, I mean, in the past, maybe I've shown you guys lots of activities that look as if they've come out of my head, and some of them have done indeed. But what I'm doing a lot of at the moment is just getting my kids through their course books. And I've noticed that in a few of the course books I'm using, there are these stories Now, the stories are sometimes comics and they're sometimes photo stories. So they got photographs of kids, but they, they have the comic thing, speech coming out of their mouths. So it's a comic, but it's in photo form. And I find sometimes with these that it's not, they're quite complicated conceptually sometimes. And sometimes there's quite a lot on the page and the kids are not quite sure what's happening. And and they've got, you put the audio on and they've got maybe, a minute 30 to go from 0 to 100 in terms of comprehension and figure out what's going on here. And I often get to the end of the story and they go, oh, what's going on? It's like, so long before we get to that page, I've been storyboarding these as a picture dictation. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So there was a photo story in one of the books I was using about a boy who goes to school. He's a new boy. He's got a recorder in his rucksack. He leaves his rucksack on the wall with his recorder, and two girls who are regular characters in the book, they find the recorder. One of them wanted to play a musical instrument. She starts playing it. He hears the sound of the recorder and comes running, and they give him the recorder. In the meantime, they've also made a poster saying, "Have you lost your bag?" So there's quite a few things going on. So I thought, right, how can I simplify this? So first of all, I just got a piece of paper and did a little rough drawing for myself as to how I might sort of storyboard it. Very rough. That could be on a napkin or a serviette, And then we started off the lesson. I said, I'm going to draw and write something, and you have to draw it and copy the text. So number one, I did, today is the first day of school. They wouldn't have got that. They wouldn't have understood that, my 7 and 8 year olds, automatically if we just started the story off. So, that gave us a chance to look at it. And then I put, there's a bag on the wall. And they copied. So this is one little kid drawing away there. And I've also got them practicing the text right away from the beginning. And we can do some concept check. Obviously, there's more text in the story, but I'm choosing the key concepts. Next, the girls find the recorder and the kids draw that. So, I draw it, I write it, and then I give them, we give them all a minute to do the next bit of the drawing. My photos are not always very good, but thanks, Susie. Cool. Great drawings. Well, yeah, these turned out well. They don't always, though. But it does help if you practice a little bit. I mean, this is from practicing. That was my first go. This has been around in my pocket for weeks. That was my first attempt, and you could see it just looked a bit weird. So I decided, so things get better. That's the use of practicing, I think. So that was the full story. That's a simplified version, but then you have the core of the story. And the kids have done that. And then I don't even always mention it to them, but the next lesson when we do the story, you see them go, it's this, and they can actually understand. And even if they don't remember doing this, they have the blueprint of the story in their head. So that helps you get through those photo stories or comic book stories in your course books. Right, what's next? This one, I took a photo of it at the end of the lesson, so you can't see how it layered up. But this is one where, Mrs. Jones gets her laptop stolen by a thief, and the children are in their shed and they're looking and they say, stop, and the thief trips on a banana skin. So, and again, conceptually, this is for the year younger. It's a little bit complicated. So first, you can see I was just doing single words here because these are sort of 6 and 7 year olds. So I did 1, house, 2, 2, window, 3, Mrs. Jones, and she's asleep. That's how she gets her laptop stolen, and then for the movement, the thief goes back down, etc. So again, we're just helping them conceptually with the story. Right, next thing. this is something I started doing over the lockdown period with emojis. So I stick this on the shared screen or central display, and then I'll get one student. I'll say, hello, Carmen. Carmen says hello, or let's say we'll start with Alex. Hello, Alex, because he begins with an A. So, and I put the cursor here. He says, go up, go left, go left, go left, go left. That one. And then I get the pen tool and I just circle it for Alex. Then I go to Carmen. She says, go up, go down, go down, go right, and we circle hers. And we go through everybody. If you've got 30 kids, we're not going to be able to do that for the whole class at the same time. So every so often we go back to it, and we sort of do another 5. And then at the end, everybody's got their email, their emoji circled, and that's the emoji they chose. Now, these emojis, they come from this, which is Segoi UI symbol. I'm pleased you like the pre-reading activities, magic. And this is on Microsoft. It's a Unicode, so it's that one, Segoi UI symbol. You've got nearly all the emojis. And so once they've chosen their emoji, if you're doing a worksheet or you're doing a PowerPoint that's going to have their names on, then you can actually put their little emoji, their chosen emoji, next to their name. And you've got another little bit of personalization. If you use that Segoi font in PowerPoint, they come out black and white. If you use it in Word, they come out in color. And then you can screenshot them across. I've also done real stickers and put a photo of a real pack of stickers here, and then they're saying go up, go left, go right, and that. Liliana pasted GIFs into private messages. That's really sweet. So where do I have to go, Selena? It depends on which emoji you want, because the children are choosing their emojis. And where you have to go to get the font, you have to go to, okay, let me show you, Segoi UI symbol. I'll give you all 5 seconds to take a screen print of that one if you want. Imprimir pantalla. Oh, that's what I've got down here. So that's beautiful. Thank you very much, Happy. Thanks, Nydia. Okay, so if you're using, for example, the Class Dojo or Class 123, Classroom Management Systems, this is a mock-up from my own book, then the children have the chance they have the opportunity to change their avatars, and they love changing their little avatar on these classroom management apps. So, teacher, can we change our avatars? Well, not today, maybe next week. But when we do that, if we're working in a socially distanced room, we can use the same. So we put the cursor here, and they're choosing which little person is going to represent them on Class Dojo, Class 123. Okay, Alex, tell me, teacher, go up, go left, etc. And you can use, and I've been using that same functional language in order to help them choose their avatars without having to come to the board and point. Okay, 3 in a row. This is most definitely not rocket science, but it's helping me no end at the moment. So when I'm in a classroom, in a socially distanced classroom, I just knock this onto the board. So this is timetables. I've got art at, I've got ICT at, and then I've got drama at, I've got geography at. We put them in teams and they take it in turns. The first person in a team says, I've got, for example, ICT at 12:30, and then we put their team symbol in, and it's 3 in a row. And I've been doing a mixture of face-to-face this year, socially distanced and hybrid classes. And there I am in all my wonderful fatness teaching. I don't know how he can see with that hair in his eyes. I really don't. Um, so I've been doing this for all different language. With my 6 and 7 year olds, you know, a hamster has got, and I project this up onto the board. So let's say the first one, because I'm doing hybrid, I've got the people in the room playing against the people at home at the moment. So somebody in the room, you know, a cat has got claws. Okay, the other team choose a teacher hasn't got a shell, but if I did, I might have crawled into it over the past few months a few times. And then we go, we've got a cat hasn't got scales, and then a cat has got whiskers. We've got a few over here, and then done that, and then 1 point for the circles, and we put that up in the corner there. But it's not over. That's the important thing. It's not over at all. It just keeps going, because then they get a point. 1 for the crosses, and then these guys can get another point by doing that. So ding, 1 for the circles, and we just keep it going. I mean, we don't normally get to the end because we play that at the end of the lesson, but we you know, sometimes they manage to get 1 point, 2 points. I nearly always manage to make it a draw between them. But so we've got the animals, and we've got you know, hair, features of the face, and I think you saw before I've got art at, and I had the times. In fact, I think I've got a slide with that on as well. There you go. So I've got history at 10 o'clock, I've got maths at 10:15, and I'm doing the times in order so they can see the progression, and I'm also putting the little numbers there just to help them, because I hated times when I was at school. I was the last in my class to figure that out, which is probably why I'm often late for stuff now. Okay, give us some points, teacher. Don't give us some points, teacher. Give us a house. A house is much more useful. I'll send this to Happy Nep. So if anybody wants this little house, you can have it. And so what I've been doing this week, I started with this actually. I said, today, if you get 5 points, you get a house. I go, whoa, yeah. And one of them said, look, it's a terrace. I said, yeah. And he said, what's that? I said, it's a garage. That's where your car's going to go. So every so often, how can you get it? I'll send it to Happy Nep, and they can send it out. Or you can email me as well. I don't mind. So I've got my email here on the last slide. So I don't care how many of you email me either. It's, you know, it's curfew here. I can't go out after 10 o'clock. So I can be just sitting here emailing people this. So during the class, I stuck these on the wall, and when people got to 5 points, I was just inventing. I was like, everybody, you're doing really well. Everybody has got 2 points now. And they're going, yeah. And then as they got their point, they had to say, you know, teacher, can I have a house, please? And I write it on a Post-it note, slap it on there, slap it on the picture. But obviously, if you've got a bigger class, you need to organize that in a slightly different way, but you guys are good at that. Then, obviously, we need to put furniture in the houses. So what I'm going to be doing from now until Christmas is they're going to be winning. Instead of points, they're going to be winning furniture. So on Wednesday and Thursday, they were working for a sofa. And I said, you know, you can get more than 1 sofa, you know. Go, whoa, yeah. I said, you could even have 3 sofas. One of them, in one class, she said, teacher, why are they so small? I said, well, you know, you might want 3 sofas. And then she says, can we have other stuff? I said, yeah, you're going to have the opportunity to earn yourself a flat screen TV and a car and a bicycle. And then at the end, then in the last lesson before Christmas, they'll take them down. I mean, I don't know if you can see on here. I didn't put it in, maybe. Should have been on the slide somewhere, but yeah, I took these and I stuck them in the corner below the house. So that car, well, I think car, maybe bicycle, or maybe, I mean, we could even give them a horse in the garage, couldn't we? So thank you, Viviana and people. Yeah, you like that one. I mean, that should be good fun. So the last lesson will be taking that down, decorating, colouring all the little bits of furniture, and, you know, designing their house the way they want. Right, next idea. Beans. I think you've seen me do lots of things with little beans, but I'm still doing it. So, and I'm doing it in a slightly different way. So I'll show you very quickly the difference. So the base activity is drawing monsters on beans. I might give them a choice of car, actually, Marcia. So this is a drawing tutorial. Although they're doing this on paper, they're practicing the basic elements and they're getting exposure to the characters. And then this year, I did my own tutorial. The idea originally for video tutorials came from a little book by Sue Cowley. It's like this little, really thin little manual called The 7 T's of Differentiation. And she mentions it in there. So I've gone into a room before the lesson and I've actually done the activity and just spoken through it. And then I play it for them. And I can sit down and relax while the other me does all the explaining and just make sure everybody really is paying attention. So there I am in the picture, drawing faces on the beans. One thing I did in this, though, that I haven't done in previous video tutorials is when I was in the other room, the first thing I did is I picked up the register and I just said hello to them all. I just worked down the register, hi, Harry, hello, Daniela, hello. And I noticed that once we were in the classroom, every kid, when they got their name said out by the me on the video, they were like, it was like magic. They loved it. So that's an interesting thing to include, I think. So there I was doing the worksheet. The worksheet is actually a downloadable resource for the Structuring Fun book for this one. But I probably got something similar that I can send you without infringing, copyright, etc. And I showed them how to draw the beans and stuff like that. And then because we're doing socially distanced and that, and we have obviously we've got the protocol. I'd already prepared the beans and the blue tack, so they could just have them in bags, and that was it. And then they started doing the beans and the house. The thing I like most is that there's a tunnel under the house, so they can get to design their own tunnel. Feijão manteiga, Liliana. Oh, that beans, butter beans, similar, yeah, that sort of thing, yeah, but not the really expensive ones. And in the grey scale, there's little prompts that they can do as well. So there's a tunnel under here, etc., etc., etc. I did this with a couple of levels, so you probably notice quite a difference in the. And they can overwrite the letters. They can overwrite the house, etc., etc. Okay, so I mentioned today in the workshop, and if anyone missed it and you want to see that workshop next week, I'm running it again, which is a little bit more technical about how we can evaluate, how we can decide if our online lessons are good. But I mentioned a way of helping the stragglers, people who have fallen behind. So, for example, if the children have to read this, if you're doing, if they have to read this, then find the number and actually write the number or type the number. Then if we transition, so we've got 22, we've transitioned to the next slide, and sometimes a student will say, teacher, no, you're going too fast. So today I mentioned that one useful thing is to put the previous screen in the top corner so that the children are still working from the previous screen on your PowerPoint, whatever the PowerPoint is, can catch up. What have we got here? We've got vanilla espresso with triple shot. Cheers, here's to happiness. So I was doing a session yesterday, and one of the participants online told me, because I just take screenshots, they told me a way of doing this quite easily. So I'm going to share that with you. If you're doing your PowerPoint and you go to insert, thank you, I will, Zeta, cheers, there, and then you go to Zoom there, you can actually, it will actually create a mini version of a slide, which then you can put into your other slide like that. So I'm still playing about with that because I only learnt about it last night, but it was very nice. Right, I think I'm on to my last batch of ideas. Then it's time for questions. So let's end with unexpected silliness. lessons have become somewhat drier, yes, because we can't move about so much. We can't do so many more things. So just that odd bit of silliness. And I like to put these into my PowerPoints, whether it's in a class or whether it's online. You know, you can just have a silly face. I think I showed people this today, you know, and they're just, you know, I've seen students go, oh, what's that? That's the teacher being silly. They're not used to that. Or we can, you know, we can give the teacher whiskers, which, you know, links in with the animal vocab we were doing before. I created lots of little Chris's, and so just occasionally in my PowerPoint we'll have this, and I say big head, and the students go little heads, and then we actually counted them the other day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's difficult to count all this, but if you are controlling the cursor and you move it like that, then they'll count every time you stop the cursor. So it doesn't matter that it's not clear how many heads there are, because you're steering them. That was done with this, which is Paint 3D, and it came free with my computer. So another thing I like to do, if I'm taking screenshots, I've blanked this out for copyright because it's a commercial course book and that. If I'm taking screenshots, sometimes I'll use screenshots from a digibook, but sometimes I won't have time. So I'll just snap stuff with my laptop and then put it onto a PowerPoint. But I always try to make myself in the picture behind smiling, because sooner or later they'll go, teacher, that's you behind. And they quite like that. And then we can do, you know, an eye, nose. I did forehead and eyebrows with them the other day. I haven't done nostrils yet, but that'll be interesting. And again, you know, they always notice in the end, teacher, we can see you. Oh yeah, the Paint 3D was for, you can take your head and then you can do magic cutout and it'll cut your head out neatly without the background. In fact, you can take any image and it'll cut it out nicely. Then you can put it into PowerPoints without, you know, without the background, without that white square, which can be quite annoying. Okay, last thing. So I installed the Snapchat camera on my PC. I didn't install it on my mobile. You know, my mobile is kind of Cro-Magnon. It's this. So I'm sort of, you know, 10 years behind the rest of you. But I installed this on my laptop and I was able to create some quite fun little videos. You know, you can superimpose animal heads. So you could be talking to your class, giving them a video tutorial as a lion. Or, you know, I just wondered what the cat would think to it. The cat didn't care. Or you could be talking to them as, you know, as a cat, for instance. So I think they would find that highly entertaining if you were giving the classroom instructions to your class as an animal. Now, there are some quite interesting ones, but I put a really scary filter on. So my students have never seen this. I would never use it in class because it's scary. But the problem I had was I then had a webinar the next day and I couldn't get the Snapchat filter to close. So I was stuck with that. And I had to deinstall it and then begin the webinar sort of 10 minutes late. So if you are using a Snapchat filter on your laptop, be careful, or computer, you know, make your recordings and then maybe either, you know, make sure you can turn it off or deinstall it, you know, before you've got an important webinar. Right, what have we got? This is the Structuring Fun for Young Learners online. That's out. That comes out on Wednesday, I think. Maybe the 4th of December it comes out. And that's got all my online stuff. The lovely people at Pavilion, they have arranged a 20% discount on either of my main books. You need this promotion code, Happy110, and that's via their website. Take a screen print of that if you want. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this is the Pavilion newsletter. This is my Facebook. If we're not friends, maybe we should be. And this is my email. By all means, get in touch. Ready for questions.
Thank you, Chris. I'm still laughing. I took a lot of print screens of your images, so I'm not sure if we're going to use them, but I will ask you permission
Yeah,
for
no,
that.
you can use any of those, and you can record this one. You can send it out as a YouTube clip, whatever you want. It's actually put together especially for you guys. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Lydia?
Okay, so we have a question here for you, Chris, from Sofia Nobre. She asks, how many students do you have in your classroom? And when you do the gestures, do you think it will work in front of 27, 8, 10-year-olds?
yes. So I only have 12 students, but yes, I very much do. When I was teaching large classrooms of primary, I relied on hand gestures very much. So yeah, I don't see why that would work any worse. I mean, I've done these little stories. I did that with you guys. There was maybe 100 of you in the room, or something like that. So there's, yeah, I mean, I think it's all the more important. I'm sure you guys have some sort of captivation technique. So yeah, no, I definitely think it will, and I think it's more important, isn't it, to maintain cohesion the more students you have in the room.
Well, about the question and answers, I think we have no more questions unless someone wants to ask something. You can also do it in the chat box.
Bless you all. There's some lovely comments here. Thank you very much.
Yes, I took some notes of some that you might have not seen, and they vary from standing ovation, from fun, fantastic, brilliant, awesome, claps, and very original. So everything you got us used to.
Look, that makes me so happy. It makes me want to party. What about?
Oh, how nice. So next session, next Saturday, you will have to meet us on the last session, and we shall have that mode for party and singing the happy birthday to Apinep with a glass of red wine or beer or whatever.
That sounds like a plan.
I invite you all for being there on our last session next Saturday. So thank you, Chris, again. As we don't, well, it seems like we have another question here from Sandra Santos. Do you think translation exercise can help learning a foreign language?
Yeah, I love translation, but I think the thing is sometimes we relegate translation. As teachers, we feel guilty when we resort to our students' L1 sometimes. But I do believe in being proactive and using the student's first language as an entry point into further teaching. So, it allows them to tell us the things that they ate at lunch, in their first language. Then we can give that to them in English. And for complicated things, we can use the sandwiching technique. We can say, we can say the instructions or the sentence in English, then we can say it in Portuguese, then we can say it in English, so they hear more English than anything else, but we've signposted meaning as well. So yeah.
Okay, just to wrap it up, just some notes I took. So it's obvious you enjoy thinking about things, because every material shows that, and even those funky ideas adapted to the pandemic situation we are facing. And I also noted that the importance of changing some materials into meaningful and personalized items, which can motivate students as well. So thank you, Chris, for everything.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, moderators, organisers. Thanks to all of you.
Okay, so it seems that we had a great day and we ended amazingly. Thank you, all the speakers, for sharing their ideas, your ideas, Chris. Some of them probably are going to be used next week. We had
your Facebook, sorry, Sonia, your Facebook is full of requests.
My Facebook.
So, no, Chris.
Chris Facebook.
That's magic. Thank you very much, yeah.
Thank God. Well, we had some really emotional moments here, funny and crazy moments, thinking moments, personal sharings, and so it was a really nice day. So thank you all for being with us on this fantastic day. Enjoy the long weekend, at least for us in Portugal. Relax, but most of all, keep safe. And thank you, Chris, so much for making us laugh in the end of this day. And see you next Saturday on the 5th of December. And we want to have a smallish party at the end of the day, okay? So see you there, and I invite everyone to be there next Saturday.
See you.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.